If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I'm happy to sew along with you the Scottie Convertible bag by Kaur threads. Now this one I have modified ever so slightly and I'll show you what I did. And again, you can follow along with this tutorial. I tell you uh, where to stop and skip over if you don't want to do my modifications. So one of the main modifications I did in this is I did interface this one with foam. I myself prefer a more structured bag. This design is actually meant to be a slouchy bag with no interfacing except for the heavy stabilizer in the bottom. So that is absolutely amazing if you want to do it that way as per the pattern. This one, I wanted it to be more structured, so I thought, hey, why don't we try it with foam and see how it works, and I am very pleased with how it turned out. This tutorial, I do the drop-in lining method. Those instructions are all in the pattern as well. I will not be giving out any measurements or any seam allowances in this video, so make sure you are following along with the pattern once you have purchased it to know what those measurements are. Okay, the other modification I did, you will notice it has a less hardware. Now, I only had so much. This is actually for a client, and I only had so much of this Mora faux leather in this color. I didn't have enough to do the separate strap, so I found a way to do it without it. So I was able to eliminate the rectangle rings that were here. In the pattern, you have rectangle and D rings there. I did my crossbody strap as per the pattern. So it is an extra long crossbody strap. So what it does is you can make this into a backpack. I have my crossbody strap as big as I can make it go, and I have linked it into this D-ring down here, and I fed it up and through this D-ring around the other side and clipping it on here. And what that gives you, and of course you can make this shorter. This is very, very body inclusive. I have this to the biggest size right now, so it can be worn as a crossbody this way. You could shorten it to be a shoulder strap this way as well. And what's great about this is, say you're out and about, you need to free up hands. All you have to do is pull this, and then you can wear your bag on your back like this. How amazing is that? Now, if you can see mine, it keeps the structure really good. If you're doing the slouchy way as per the pattern, it squishes in really nice and slouches. It looks amazing as well. Now, you could also, if you didn't want to have it all done down here or whatever, and you just want it to be a shoulder strap or a crossbody strap, all you do is take the crossbody strap off and you just click it into these top D-rings and you adjust the slider to whatever length you want for your crossbody or your shoulder bag. It is amazing. Honestly, keeping it on the bag like this gives you all things just by adjusting that slider. Other amazing things about this is these two front pockets. They are separate from each other. So they go across about 2/3 away each. They do not go into each other. They're completely independent of one another. On the back side, we have a generous slip pocket with a magnetic snap, perfect for hiding your phone or your wallet in for easy access. It has a recessed zipper, and on the inside of this one, I did my usual linings that I always do in all my bags, a slip pocket, as well as a zipper pocket there. It's a fairly fast sew. This one, again, I have done in the drop-in lining method, which makes it go even faster. 100% domestic machine friendly, 100% industrial machine friendly. It is just the typical Kaur threads pattern. Perfection. This is also the bag we're doing in the January 2025 sew-alongs over on the membership side of the channel. Mind you, those sew-alongs will be pre-recorded due to my husband's health right now, as I'm back and forth from the hospital and back and forth from Kelowna throughout the next couple of months for his treatments on his brain tumor. So I can't commit to a schedule and to doing these live. So thank you everybody for understanding about that. I'm trying really hard not to cry right now about that, so I'm just going to get past that. So yeah, the first class, all the sew along classes will be up by the end of the month, I promise you. So if you want to join the membership, that is down below in the description. Again, like, subscribe if you want to support the channel. You can also donate to the coffee account. or join the membership. That helps me hugely as well. Anyways, oh, materials of this bag. I did this one in the burgundy Mora faux leather. All my zipper pulls are actually, I ordered them from Alibaba. I ordered a huge stock of them. So those are from my supplier. All my other hardware is from Emmeline bags. My lining, I don't know. It was in my stash. I don't know what it is. My foam I use in this is the Pretty in Pink So Foam from Galaxy Customs. I have Decovil Heavy in the bottom, which I get from Emmeline bags. And all my cotton pieces are backed with Fuse Lite, which is similar to an SF101. Also, I got that through Emmeline bags. Anyways, thank you all for all of your support. I really do hope you like this tutorial, and I'll see you on the other side.
You're going to need some zipper tape, some rivets, 2 swivel clasps, 4 D-rings, 1 slider, 4 zipper pulls, a zipper end, 2 optional strap ends, and your nameplate. You're going to need your crossbody strap pieces, exterior front center panel, front side panels A and B, back pocket top strip panel, back top panel, back bottom panel, 2 top connectors, 2 bottom connectors, 2 exterior top gusset pieces, 2 exterior bottom gusset pieces, your lining and exterior base pieces, your interior top gusset pieces, 2 interior top panel pieces, 2 front pocket facing pieces, your front pocket lining pieces, back pocket lining pieces, interior bottom gusset pieces, interior bottom panel pieces, 2 of those, interior zipper pocket pieces, and your interior slip pocket pieces. I'm also going to be adding foam into this. This is not part of the pattern. If you prefer a slouchy bag, do not interface. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my crossbody strap. I am making it longer than usual, so I am going to piece it like so. Put these right sides together, sew across there, and then that'll make an extra long strap. If you need a class on how to do that, that's down below in the description. So now we're going to want to prep our pattern pieces D, O, H, and K as per page 12 in the pattern to prepare for our drop-in lining. You will be using your pattern piece as per the pattern, marking it down from the top edges with the measurement in the pattern and drawing out those lines. Now I've already gone ahead and I have put on my nameplate. I'm now going to take my 2 facing pieces, and on the wrong side I'm going to use my zipper template here and trace out those lines like I'm doing here. You will do the same for both. You also want to find your center. Next, what you're going to do is use your pattern piece, and you'll see markings on the pattern piece, and you want to mark that onto your or your center panels like so, and that is going to be where you're going to match up those center notches, bringing our facing right sides together like so, match up that notch and clip it in place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sew along that line that we drew and do the same for the opposite side. Next, we're going to take our pinking shears and we're going to just trim that seam allowance within that stitching like so. And then what we want to do is push the facing and this exterior piece wrong sides together. You can use some double-sided tape to hold this in place, or you can go ahead and give it a good press. Just be sure you do not melt your vinyl if you're using vinyl. You will do the exact same thing with the opposite side. So this is what that looks like done. Now I have my one of my zippers here. So for one of them, you're going to put some tape along the bottom. You're going to have your pull closing to the right. Very important. This one's to the right. The second one will be to the left. You're going to stick these down or right sides together, or right sides up, both the lining piece and the zipper tape, like so. And you're going to change into your zipper foot. This will help ensure a nice straight zipper, as these zippers are very, very visible on the front of the bag. And you're going to sew this on with the seam allowance in the pattern. Now this is a handy trick I like to do. You can definitely just go ahead and press the seam allowance out, but I like to kind of push it down like this. Press the seam allowance to the wrong side of the lining piece, and then just do 1/8 of an inch top stitch, and that just helps hold it nice and flat, and then you don't have to go ahead and press it. Okay, so that is done like so. I've gone ahead and I've made marks as per the patterns on the zipper tape, and I'm going to put some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape in between those marks. So this is on the sewn side of the zipper, not the unsewn side of the zipper tape. Next, what you want to do, make sure your zipper is orientated properly so the zipper pull is going up, and then match it up with the left side. The zipper tape should be nice and even with the sides of our panel here. Make sure your zipper is placed nice, and once you're happy with that, press it down with that zipper tape. Take your time to make sure the placement is extra good here. Once you're happy with that, you are going to go ahead and you're going to top stitch right along here. So that's one side done. Now what we want to do here is we want to put some double-sided tape along the bottom of the right side of the unsewn side of that lining panel, in between those marks that we made, about 1 inch from each side, and bring this up and attach it to the unsewn side of that zipper tape like so. Then we're going to take this and we're going to fold the exterior back, and we're going to sew down each of those sides of just the lining pocket, and then baste it in place along the zipper. This is what the one side complete looks like. We have a fully functioning zipper pocket. Just repeat the other thing with the opposite side, but this time make sure the pull is closing to the left. So that is our middle accent panel complete. Give those pockets a good press so they lie nice and flat. Next, you're going to take your front side panels that are mirrored to one another, pieces A and B, put them right sides together, clip in place. Make sure you're using the correct side so it's the nice straight sides. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip my other side at the same time. I use lots of clips here. So we're going to sew across there, and then we're going to press this up so the seam is going towards the side panel and top stitch through the side panel. And again, at the machine, I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite side in the exact same fashion. And there we have it. Our front panel is done with 2 fully functioning separate pockets. Now what we're going to do is we want to make our drop-in lining mark. So just like we did at the beginning, we're going to take our, this is the interior top pieces, and we're going to use that with the markings in the pattern to mark out our line for when we're ready to do our drop-in lining, just like so. Okay, so now we're going to work on our back pocket. So you're going to take your back pocket top strip, make sure you have the top of it marked so you know which is which. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install my magnetic snap here. So this is the female side of the magnetic snap. And then on the lining piece, you're going to go ahead and use the pattern piece, and along the bottom part, that's where you're going to install the male side of the magnetic snap. So go ahead and do that as per your manufacturer's instructions, and also back them with a piece of Decovil Heavy and duct tape just to keep everything in place nicely. Okay, so for on the lining piece, the same side as the snap, we're going to use our template that's provided with the pattern to draw out our zipper lines. Well, it's not a zipper actually, it's our pocket lines, very similar to how we did the front pockets. I got to make sure my duct tape is out of the way. I don't want to be sewing through that. So this is what that looks like. So again, it's on the bottom side there. Now you're going to take your other panel that has the female side. Make sure you're using the bottom of that side to the top of this lining piece. Again, it's very confusing, but it's brilliant. Trust me. Match up your centers, clip it in place. Very important you get the orientation of these right, or the snap will not fit in properly. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew across here. We're going to press the seam down towards the lining and top stitch through the lining piece. Okay, so this is what that looks like. Now you'll see here we have our bottom panel, and we're going to take that side that we drew those guidelines on of our lining piece, put it right sides together, so you're matching up the bottom of that pocket with the top of our bottom panel. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew through those markings that we made. Okay, so that is complete, and once again we're going to take our pinking shears and trim the seam allowance down to about 1/4 of an inch from the stitching. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and once again we are going to fold these wrong sides together, use some double-sided tape to hold it in place, or give it a good press. Just make sure the double-sided tape is an inch or so outside of the sides, because we do need to close up this pocket and you don't want to be having to pull away that double-sided tape to be able to sew just the lining piece. You can also give it a really good finger press and use your seam roller. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to top stitch all the way along that curve. Now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring our magnetic snaps together and snap them in place. Use a few clips to hold the sides where they need to be. It should be nice and even with that bottom panel. Then we're going to fold back the exterior here, and we're going to just sew down the lining side to close up the sides of those pockets, and then just do little tack stitches just to hold the two top pieces on the exterior side in place. That's what that looks like there. Now we're going to take our back top panel. I've already marked all my centers. We're going to bring these right sides together and clip along the straight sides. You're going to go ahead and sew across here with the seam allowance in the pattern, and then you're going to press that seam up towards that back top panel and then top stitch through the back top panel. Our front and back panel complete. You can set these aside for now. So now we're going to work on our connectors. So I have put some Decovil Lite in mine just to make them a little more strong. You're going to take some double-sided tape, or you could use clips if you wanted, and you're going to fold the long edges into the center for all 4 pieces. You'll take these to the machine, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to stitch down those with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, which I have done. On the wrong side, you're going to make markings as per the pattern. Put a little bit of double-sided tape on the wrong side, slide on your D-ring, and bring that short end down to that line we just drew. So that's all 4 done. I've also gone ahead and I've drawn a line about 3/4 of an inch, or yeah, about 3/4 of an inch down on each to help me with my stitching. On our top exterior gusset pieces, I am using my pattern to make the marking of where the top of my top connectors are going to go. I'm going to do the same with my gussets. I've put a little slit in the pattern piece here so I can draw where the top fold of my bottom connectors will go. Now I like to put a little bit of double-sided tape to help hold these in place so they stay nice and straight when I take them to the machine. And I'm going to line up the fold of that connector right up against that line, and then I'm going to top stitch with 1/8 of an inch up the side, across that marking I made below the D-ring, and back down the other side. And I'm going to do that for all 4 connectors. So I'm going to just take one of my wet ones here. I like to use baby wipes to wipe away all my marks so I don't end up having that ghosting line from my pen. Now you're going to take the gusset, top gusset pieces like so, and we're going to bring it right sides together with our bottom gussets, clip them in place. Then we're going to sew across here, fold this so the seam is going towards the bottom, and top stitch through the bottom gusset for both pieces. That is our gussets done. Now we're going to attach our bottom piece here. So I've marked my centers. We're going to bring along the short sides of the bottom base piece and our gusset pieces, or I guess it's the long side of our gusset piece here. Clip them in place. I'm going to go ahead and attach the other side here. Make sure it's nice and centered. And then we're going to sew across these with the seam allowance in the pattern, press the seam towards that base piece, and then top stitch through the base piece. Now I'm wanting a more structured bag, so I'm actually modifying this and adding in foam interfacing. If you want a slouchy bag like the pattern, just completely skip this step. Okay, so I'm going to take my finished full bottom gusset piece here and my exterior front and backs, and I am going to back them with foam. So I'm going to use these to cut out my foam pieces. Once I have that, I have not clipped the top part, and that's because we want to cut away some of that foam from the very top here momentarily. So I'm marking down about half an inch or so from each of the top ends, and I'm only going to base the foam from that half-inch mark all the way down to the other side half-inch mark. We just want to make sure we're not basting the foam along the top, and this is why. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to pretend that I am marking my drop-in lining pieces as per the pattern that we've done with all the other pieces. Do the marking as per the pattern piece. Use your pattern piece here to draw out that drop-in lining line. Trust me, this works. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the foam out of the way along that line, being careful not to cut our exterior pieces. And this is just going to reduce some of that bulk when interfacing with foam when we go to fold down these raw edges later on for the drop-in lining. Again, this is a complete Brandy modification. I love the way it turned out with foam. It's great as a slouchy bag as well. I just had to try this. Now, because I'm using a sew-in foam, I'm just going to use some double-sided tape here. And I'm going to stick it on this side just so my foam isn't flopping all the way around until I can get that all in place with top stitching later on. Go ahead and do the same with the other backing piece. And for this one, again, just the same way, you're going to measure down as per the pattern, draw that line, and cut that foam out of those top sections. Same with the opposite side. Okay, so I have also just cut away some of the foam so my pockets can come on that side of the foam. You do not have to do that. I just like to do that myself. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put rivets in my gusset. So I'm going to put one here and I'm going to put 2 underneath that top stitch line. So I have kind of like 3. I just eyeball this. On this bottom piece, I'm going to put 1 here, and same with the opposite side. And I'm going to go ahead and install those rivets backed with scraps of heavy stabilizer. Now it's time to assemble that exterior. So we have our centers already marked. I'm going to take my front exterior panel and my gusset panel, put them right sides together, match up that center mark, and hold in place with a couple clips. I'm going to bring up one side, line it up, add a couple clips to hold that in place. And same with the opposite side. And then we're going to go ahead and evenly distribute that fabric down to the curve until it looks like our gusset does not want to go around the curve. And you'll see what I mean here momentarily. So when you get to the curve and it looks like your gusset doesn't want to go around that curve, that is because our gusset is a straight piece and we're putting it to a curvy piece. So you're going to go ahead and just put in some little snips here, about 1/8 to a scant 1/4 of an inch, and you'll see that'll help spread that fabric of the gusset around that exterior panel. Again, the snips only go into that gusset panel. Do this for the other side as well. Once we have that all clipped in place, we're going to go ahead and sew all the way around here with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. I like to run my finger along that seam just to make sure everything was caught and I have no puckers. You're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with the other piece on the other side of the gusset. So this is that exterior all done. Now what we want to do is I'm going to take some double-sided tape and I'm going to put it all along the perimeter of the top of this exterior piece. At the same time, I'm going to open up my seam allowances. If they don't want a butterfly open, sometimes just putting a little snip in within the seam allowance, about 1 inch or so down, just helps open up that seam, just like so. I'm using 1/4 of an inch double-sided tape here. It will not get stuck in your seam allowance when we go to top stitch this in place. If you're still worried about that, you can also use 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape. My machine is an industrial, so it sews through double-sided tape like no tomorrow, so I'm not too worried about it. You could also just clip this in place if you prefer. Once we have the tape in place, before we fold down the ends to that drop-in lining line, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to turn my exterior right side out. Press out all of my seams with my fingers. And then you're going to fold that raw edge down into those lines that we had marked in the previous steps. Now this should fold nicely over top of the foam to hold it in place. And you're going to fold it down all the way around. I'm also going to use some clips to help hold this in place because I will not be working with this piece for a little bit until we finish up our lining pieces, and it'll just help secure that double-sided tape even more. Again, I am not a stranger to clips to hold this in place. I just want it to stay there. You can go ahead and set the exterior aside for now. Now we're going to work on our lining pieces. So we're going to do our gusset and bottom piece first. This is done in the exact same fashion we did with our exterior pieces. So go ahead and do that with the top gusset and the bottom gusset pieces. And then you're going to attach the bottom in the same way we did with the exterior. It's just rinse and repeat without the connectors. So that is our lining gusset done. Make sure you have your centers marked. Now I have already gone ahead and I've done my lining pockets. This one, because we're doing a drop-in lining, you do not leave an opening in the bottom of the zipper pocket. If you need a class on how I do those, it's down below in the description. Now we're going to work on our main zipper. So on the wrong side, on the right-hand side of our zipper, we're going to make a 1-inch line. That's just going to help us put our zipper pull on nice and straight later. On the opposite side, with right side up, you're going to kind of fold each of the sides of the zipper tape down on an angle like so. Hold with a clip or a pin. Other side as even as it can possibly be with the first one we did. And then you're going to go ahead and baste these in place. Once that's done, you can go ahead and cut off the excess wings here just to make it nice and even. You can pull your zipper tape apart. Now I'm going to take my lining panels, and I've already made markings on the tops as per the pattern, and that is where we are going to put some double-sided tape in between those marks along the top. You can definitely use clips here if you do not want to use double-sided tape. So I have the panel that I want to be at the back of my bag up first. It's right side up. I'm going to take my zipper tape also right side up with the curvy part going to the left, and I'm going to stick it down in between those lines and kind of veer the end of my zipper tape down like so. You'll do the same with the opposite side, except for you will have your zipper tape with the curvy part to the right hand side. That's because these need to be mirrored to one another, and it's the only way it'll let you go anyway. So again, right side up and right side up with the curve going to the left in between those marks, and veer the tail down and out of the way like so. We definitely don't want those tails getting caught in our stitching. You can definitely go ahead and baste that in place, but I'm going to skip that step and I'm just going to use double-sided tape, and along our interior top panels I'm going to put my double-sided tape along the straight bottoms like so. And I'm going to take this and put it right sides together with our lining panel with the zipper. Match up your center. And this is where you could also use clips if you don't want to use tape. Evenly distribute that fabric all the way to the ends. And then we're going to sew across this with the seam allowance in the pattern. Press the seam towards the lining panel, and then we're going to top stitch through the lining panel, and you'll do the same with the opposite side. And that is all of our lining panels done. Now we're going to be putting this together very similar to how we did the exterior, with one exception. So again, you're going to match up the bottoms marks and then the tops. You want to make sure that our top gusset and our interior top panels match up, so we have a nice seamless line where those seams match up, and then clip the tops. Make sure your zipper pull tails are out of the way. Do the same with the opposite side. And once again, you're going to go ahead and clip all the way around like so. Now this is where it's going to be a little different. You're going to start with the lower seam allowance till about here. Then you're going to branch out into that larger seam allowance that's in the pattern all the way around the other side until about here, and then back down to the regular seam allowance. So you can see here how I veered it out. Now where the seam allowance is larger, you can go ahead and you can trim that down, but only to where the seam allowance has grown out. This is to give us a nice and tight lining. You're going to do the exact same thing with the opposite side. So that is our lining all done. And just like we did with the exterior, we're going to take double-sided tape or clips around the exterior like so. Make sure your seams are flared open. That helps reduce bulk when we go to stitch this all together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave this wrong side out, and we're going to fold that raw edge into that line that we had previously drawn, exactly how we did with the exterior. Once that is done, you're going to grab your exterior piece like so, which is right side out. Your lining is wrong side out. Make sure you have your bag orientated the way you want it to be for the inside, and we're going to go ahead and drop that lining in. Now you're going to find that center mark on the main panels of both pieces, and make sure they line up, and make sure those folded down edges are nice and even for the lining and the exterior. Do the same with the opposite side. Again, we like to work in quarter sections. This will be a little more than quarter sections, I guess. Line up the side seam. We have two side seams to line up here. And the other side seam, Coco's saying hi if you can hear her. And I like to just go ahead at this point and just kind of clip the rest of those gussets together. And then go ahead and do the same with the opposite side. And then all you need to do is go in between those quarter sections, evenly distributing that fabric. If you did your seam allowances right, this should fit in perfectly. All right, so that is what that looks like all clipped together. Now, if I was on my flatbed, I would go ahead and I'd top stitch through the inside, making sure my bobbin is nice because it would be showing, or you could turn the bag inside out to top stitch. I'm going to take this on my cylinder arm. If you have a free arm machine, you do it the exact same way. And I like to top stitch this with just a slight, somewhere in between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch to make sure I'm catching both layers. Take it nice and slow and top stitch all the way around. So now go ahead and make sure your top stitching looks good. It was caught all the way around. I already went ahead and put on my zipper pull and my zipper end. She looks amazing. Now this is for my modification with just the one strap. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to make this crossbody strap as long as it can go. Again, we cut this crossbody strap extra long. I'm going to clip it down to one side. I'm going to feed through my swivel clasp through that top D-ring like so. Bring it around the other side. This is just a way to not have your a second strap. So here you can wear this as a shoulder bag like this, and you can definitely adjust it with the slider to make it shorter. You can pull it tight like this, and then it's your backpack. And then of course you can always unclip the sides and then clip those into just these top D-rings and just have a crossbody / shoulder bag. And that's it. Admire your work, pat yourself on the back, and we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. What did you think about that? I'd like to know what you would think about my modification with the crossbody strap as well as adding in the foam. I'm very, very happy with how all of that turned out. Anyways, thank you again for all of your support. I love you all. Remember to subscribe, like, donate to coffee if you want to join the membership, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.